So this is my first solo podcast. I don't know why I'm nervous. I have put this off for a really long time, and I have talking points on my phone because I ramble and sometimes I forget what I'm going to say. But I have wanted to do something like this for a really long time, and I don't know what it is, but I've always been really good at short form content, and there's just something about sitting down in front of a camera and being by myself and being raw and real and honest and kind of telling everything and not having it in a short, confined form kind of scares me. And I've done some podcasts before, and I said some not nice things. And that was, I think, 2 years ago. And so now I'm kind of doing things on my own terms. This is my first solo podcast. I've always had, a host ask me questions, but I kind of wanted to do this to get on a deeper level with you guys. I feel like everyone thinks that they know me, and they get such a short description of everything via TikTok or Instagram, but you don't get all the details because it is in such a concise form. And so now I wanted to talk to you guys about things. I wanted to have talking points. I wanted to really kind of dig down in a deeper level on this, so that's why I'm doing it. And if you see me looking at my phone a lot, that's why. So I really wanted to come on here and just really talk about what people think my life is versus reality. So I think for this first podcast, we're just going to go in detail about my story, questions that you guys have had, and I've kind of broke everything down into parts for things that you guys have asked that I haven't been able to make videos about via TikTok. And I'm just going to kind of put it all right here, and that way you can kind of get to know me on a deeper level, and we can just talk about my story. So, where I started in Salsa, Oklahoma. I grew up on, I think it was like a little 300-acre ranch, but I have a 100-acre ranch now from that 300 acres. And that's where I started. It was just me, my mom, and my dad. And I grew up riding horses and helping my dad work cattle. And I just kind of had a little simple life here growing up. I went to public school at Muldrow in the beginning, moved to Central, then to Salsa, then back to Central, then back to Salsa, and then I went homeschooled my junior and senior year so I could work and rodeo more. So when I was, I think 16 years old, I got my first job on the racetrack at Blue Ribbon Downs. Or no, it wasn't at Blue Ribbon Downs. It wasn't at Blue Ribbon Downs. I was working for Clint Crawford at the racetrack. He had his own place where he had some horses, and my job was to feed morning and evenings, clean stalls twice a day. And if you know racehorses, it is not light bedding. It is deep, deep stalls, and there better not ever be a pile of crap in there. Washing water buckets and everything like that. And then from there, I went, and he was moving to Remington Park because Blue Ribbon was shut down. And they went to Remington Park to kind of be close to the track, so I obviously wasn't one of the stall hands that was following them out there. So I moved on to, from there I went to work for a vet named Marcinda Mitchell. She had her own breeding facility, and I worked there for about a month, and I was just a hand there. I just fed and helped clean stalls when the horses were down in the stalls. They were all mainly in runs, and then from there I went and I had a job offer from the Cody Bowserman. He's a big time futurity trainer, and that was kind of what I wanted to do. At the time, I didn't want to be a vet. I was just looking for something, and I wanted to learn how to barrel race, and I knew how to barrel race, but I didn't know how to do it on that level. And so I quit my job there, and I went to work for Cody 7 days a week. I cleaned all the stalls, I fed everything in the mornings, and then I helped ride whatever horses he told me to ride that day. Then I worked there for a really long time until I quit, and I ended up going Cody. I quit. We ended everything on really great terms. I was starting college then, and so at this point I had worked on the track for Marcinda and for Cody, and I did not know what it was like to have a weekend off. So I was trying to rodeo while working a full-time job 7 days out of the week, and it was very hard on me. So from there, I started working for a vet at McKee Equine, Dr. Trent Stites, and I would get the weekends off. And then as I grew and knew more, then we started trading off weekends. So I did still work weekends, but it wasn't as often. And I contributed a lot of what I know to Cody and Dr. Trent Stites, because I learned a lot about barrel racing, how to train. That's where all of my knowledge really comes from, is from him. And he taught me how to actually barrel race and do things the proper way, and how to get a horse to do what you want them to do. Because I was kind of a little bit backyard again, a little bit redneck. I didn't know what I was doing. So Cody taught me everything, and he kind of got me my start to futurities. But working for Dr. Stites, I learned a lot about proper maintenance on horses. I learned things that a lot of girls, I feel like, lack. A lot of girls don't even know how to mainline a horse. A lot of girls don't know even how to do, the health side to horses. And that for me was a very imperative part of my career, and I wouldn't trade that for the world. Those two jobs. I was on and off at Dr. Stites for 2 years. I eventually had to quit because I went to college full time, and I did still work part-time there up until I couldn't anymore. And then I left college, and then that's when I went to Texas, and you guys knew me at the tack house. Yeah, from there, my life was heavily on social media, so you guys can kind of put the key points together. I moved to Texas, went to the tack house, was in a Western influencer house for 6 months to a year, on and off for the other half of 6 months. Moving was really hard on me, especially with my dad being older, and I didn't like being gone from Oklahoma for a really long time. But I wouldn't trade my experience at the tack house for the world. It really grew me as a person. There was a lot of things that I had to overcome, and there was a lot of things that I would change if I could go back. But yeah, I mean, that's a chapter of my life I don't really talk about anymore. I just kind of close that door, and I don't really open it. So yeah. But anyways, how my life actually works now. So now, fast forward, I'm 23, going to be 24 this August, I think. Now I am an owner and CEO of a gene company. I run a ranch that I have, and I have about 7 futurity colts currently. And I just I ride my horses, and I run my gene company, and I am a wife, and my husband works out of town, so I have a lot of time to do things that I need to do because he's gone. And when he's home, a lot of my stuff gets pushed to the side so I can spend as much time with him as I can. And for a long time, I did social media. My main source of income was brand deals. I don't do those anymore. I haven't done a brand deal in a really long time, which was kind of the jump start into the gene company. I had a 2-year contract with a brand that I felt like I was wrongfully. The whole reason for this isn't to say anything negative, but I'm telling you guys my story, and so there's some things that I have to kind of say for you guys to kind of get the full discrepancy of everything. So I was signed on, it wasn't a 2-year contract, it was a 6-month contract, and it got renewed every 6 months for 2 years. And the last 6 months it didn't get renewed. And I felt like it was a wrong move. I felt like I didn't get a chance to say my side of things. I felt like it was completely unprofessional on the brand's part for how it happened. And there was a middle person involved in that. So from what they told me, I believe that was unprofessional. I don't know what the true story is because I've never gotten to have direct contact with the brand, but I felt like that should have never happened. So that was kind of, my main source of income was doing the brand deals, and I loved it. I loved it a lot, and I knew that a brand wouldn't be paying me that amount of money if I wasn't bringing a large amount of sales to the table. And I knew people were buying products solely because I was saying these are good products. And I did really love their products. I wore them and used them before I even was picked up by them as a brand deal. And so whenever I started Steinmetz Signature, I knew that I had experience already, kind of marketing and doing this kind of thing. And I knew I could make a better jean, and I knew I could make it more affordable. So I had a little bit of, I guess you could say, I had a little bit of, I'm trying to think of the words. Like, I was a little bit scared to do it on my own because when you were doing brand deals, there wasn't a lot of risk in it. The biggest risk was that some months were better than others. But when you start your own company and your own clothing line, you're putting all your money out there and you're just hoping it works. When I was marketing and modeling for another brand, I didn't have any money on the line. I didn't have anything invested in it. And so I was really, really scared to do it. And so when we ended everything in January of 2025, it was December of 24 when we ended, January of 2025, I started to think about what I really wanted to do. And at first, I didn't think I was going to do jeans. I wasn't sure. And I ended up deciding on jeans. It took almost a full year to start. I worked really fast. The biggest delay was getting samples. And I say that because I was very, very picky. I didn't want something that felt cheap. I didn't want something that wasn't better than the standard already. And I needed to make sure it was still high quality but still affordable, which was the trickiest part. So I went through a lot of manufacturers. I went through a lot of samples, and it takes several weeks to get samples in. So, and because it takes so long to make them. So there was a huge delay because I kept thinking that this next sample is going to be it. This next sample is going to be it. And it never was. And it took me about 9 months, I think, to finally find something that I liked. And when I finally put on the Jackie, I was like, this is chef's kiss. Like, this is what we're coming out with. Originally, we didn't plan to come out with the Jackie, or plan to come out with 2 jeans. So I started on the sample of the Dahlem, and it wasn't working. Everything felt cheap. The sizing was off. I hated it. And I was like, I don't know what we're going to do. And I messaged another manufacturer while we were still creating samples with this one. We talked, we had some meetings, and we came out with the Jackie. The Jackie from the get-go was really, really good. I love the color. Gave them the details of what I wanted, and it didn't take too many different samples to get what we wanted. And so originally the Jackie was the first jean we were going to come out with, and we weren't going to have a second jean right off the bat, because for one, it was a lot more money. But the morning of, I went to go shoot the Jackie, the first photo shoot that we were going to shoot, and of our Era set, the suede NFR set that we dropped as well. The Dahlems came in from the manufacturer, and I opened them up and I put them on during the shoot, and they were even better. And I was like, well, I have to launch the Jackie first because it was named after my dad. And I said, we're just going to have to launch both of them. I can't pick between the two. I think they're both going to do good. So the Dahlem ended up being one of our best-selling jeans over the Jackie. And it was really good. I was really proud of it. I was proud of the photo shoot. Everyone loved the Dahlem. It was, it's just crazy how that kind of worked out because that was not supposed to happen. And if you know me, you know that nothing is ever super calculated. It's always like, just kind of like, well, this worked out, and if it doesn't work out, I'm like, oh, we'll fix it later or whatever. That's just kind of how I operate. And so it was funny because I was like, wow, I can only afford to do one jean. And then that jean came in, I was like, I'm just going to have to figure out how to afford both. And we made it work, and I was super thankful that we did what we did because now the Jackie and the Dahlem are both bestsellers, and everyone seems to really love the jean. And I don't know, I'm just very proud of it, and I'm very proud of the jean company. And now we just came out with the Elvira, which is basically the Dahlem but in black. So that's the best way I can describe it. So I guess let's talk about how life works now. I usually, like I said, my husband's not home for months at a time, so I usually get up in the morning, I try to ride first, I work out first, and then I go and work on the jeans. I have some girls that are my customer service line, and I have people that help me day to day. I've got a girl that cleans all my stalls and helps me work horses, and so that way my horses aren't off whenever I have to go tend to my other businesses. And then I come back home and I work on social media. Some days take longer than others. There's days where we don't get in until midnight, 1 in the morning, which seems like it's not that late, but when you're getting up at 4 or 5 a.m., that is really late, and that's just life now. It just kind of seems to be a day-to-day thing. My biggest thing are making sure my futurity horses are working good and healthy, and my jean company. So I balance those two every day, and then whatever I can fit in between is what I will prioritize. But those are my two priorities. Then everything else is in between those. I guess we'll talk about real struggles. Things I struggle with out here. It's feeling like I'm not doing enough. There are days where I feel like I'm not working my horses to the best of my ability. I'm not spending as much time on the jean company. I need to be posting on social media more. I see comments on social media that are not very nice. And so those are things that take a mental toll on me. Plus, this is my second year of grief, and it's been very hard. And there are days that are worse than others. I lost my dad in 24, if you didn't know, January of 2024. And so there are things that just are harder than others day to day. There are days where I'll cry all day. There are days where I'm happy all day. It is a real struggle, and grief has no book to it. It is what it is, and you just kind of learn day to day to deal with it. I've gotten a lot better. I was really depressed my first year, and we can go into that. That's why I wanted to create this, was that way we can talk about grief and talk about what it was like for me and those struggles. But that's for a different day. My dream was always to be a professional barrel racer, and whatever I needed to do to make that happen, I was willing to do. Hence why I was working for Cody, cleaning all these stalls, learning everything I could, and working for Dr. Steinmetz, learning everything I could in that aspect. And I knew from a really young age that rodeo wasn't going to pay the bills. And a lot of times you see these girls that are winning in pro rodeoing, they're not making, just because you see that they won $100,000 that year doesn't mean they're taking home $100,000 that year, because there is a lot of expenses in it. I mean, the horses cost more than $100,000, and I knew that early on. And me and my dad, when he was still alive, we always said, like, you almost have to have something else that's willing to fund it, and it better make a lot of money. And so I just kind of went into it with, I'm not going to train horses because it is so hard to fund your career training those horses. You got to be a bang-up trainer. And I want to be a bang-up trainer, but I had a different outlook on it than most people did, and I wanted to ride my horses. I didn't want to train for the public. And so I kind of went a different direction as most people, because the public will make you burn out. And I did ride for the public for a while, which is why I steered completely away from wanting to horse train for a living. And my biggest goal is to become a professional barrel racer and be the best I can in my sport. Have really nice horses. And I do have really nice horses, but they're all babies right now. We'll see what they become. And have a multi-million-dollar gene company is the goal. We are almost, it feels crazy to say this, and I'm going to be real and honest with you guys. We have done really well starting off with this gene company, and I say that in full shock because I honestly thought the first year was not going to be profitable. They always say, like, you need to expect your first year to be non-profitable. Guys, it has been a huge blessing. We have paid off almost everything. I'm not even, 90% of everything has been paid off. And I don't even know, like, it has just been insane, and it's the reason why I can have nice horses. It's the reason why I can go and jackpot, and the reason why I can afford to go to these futurities and pay the entry fees and pay my nominations and pay all of these things. And I am so proud of the gene company, and I hope no one thinks that I'm bragging when I say that, because I started out from the bottom, and we've worked our way up here, and my goal is to make it $1 million company. And I really truly believe that if we stay humble and we don't lose focus on what we're doing, it will get there one of these days. And we're close. We're halfway to $1 million. And so I'm so proud of it. This is our first freaking year. If you would have told me that this was going to be my life, I would have been like, you're lying. This is not happening. But it's true. That's what's happening. And so if you're ever like questioning if you should start the business, coming from me, if God set that on your heart, and if you've done the work and you've figured out how it was going to be profitable and how it's going to serve the Lord, I say do it. And I say do it with all of your heart in it. My husband, I've had this gene company. Well, it didn't start out as a gene company idea. It started out a few other things, and it's formed into the gene company. But from when we started dating 2 years ago, going on 3 years ago now, and he thought it was such a great idea, and I was just like, yeah, but I'm probably not going to do it. That just seems like a lot of capital you're risking, and I didn't really plan on it. And anyways, he brought it up all the time when we were on the phone, and he'd be working. He'd be like, I really think you need to do this. And he really, really pushed me, and I finally gave in, and I said, okay, I'm going to do it, but this isn't going to be easy, even getting to the point of launch day. And I know I was going to want to quit in between. And he literally was like, I'm not going to let you quit this. This is too good of an idea. And I tried to quit a lot of times because it was really, really hard. And like, everyone thinks like running the company is hard. Launching was hard. Like, trying to get all of my ducks in a row to launch. And it's hard right now. It was so hard launching this whole thing. I've never done anything like it in my life. And he wouldn't let me quit. And so you need to have a good support team, whether it just be one person or 10. You need to have a really good support team, and my husband is that for me. And I say do it. I say whatever dream, whatever business idea you want, like, just do it. And I'm blessed to have really great parents that just whatever I wanted to do, they were super supportive in that. I wanted to, from when I was young, I wanted to professionally be an artist. And my dad was like, what is the point of life if you're not going to go do the things that you want to do? Go after them. Chase them as hard as you can. To me, life shouldn't just be you work, you retire, you die. It just seems like, I feel like that is like the opposite of what life should be. I feel like life should be you work and you have a work ethic, but you work to do the things that you want to do and the dreams that you want to accomplish. That's what you're working for. You're working for a dream. You're not working for a dead end just to retire and be old. Because let's face it, getting old is inevitable, but you can be and do whatever you want to do. Don't put yourself in this box that the world tells you that you can't do that. Because if I would have listened to that, I'd still be cleaning stalls working for $300 a week to this day. You can do whatever you want to do, and you can be whatever you want to be. You just have to chase it, and you have to have resilience. And God put it on my heart that there was something out there for me, and He put a really good husband and a lot of great friends in my corner to push me to do this, and I wouldn't be where I'm at without that group of people in my life. And so whatever it is that you're chasing, whatever it might be, whatever dream that's been on your heart, I say do it, and I say do it to the best of your ability, because you don't ever want to be old and then saying, I wonder what would have happened if I would have just tried. And I remember hearing that really young, and so I've always said to myself, I don't ever want to have the regret of not trying. I've always tried everything. Whatever I wanted, I tried it. And I started when I was 3 years old. I'm going on 20 years now of pursuing my rodeo career. And there are girls that have passed me, but I won't stop trying. And I don't ever, even if I never make it there, I won't be old and have the regret that, damn, I wish I would have tried that. So that's my 2 cents on it. That's my first podcast, just kind of a few details of my story, and I will be doing another one of these soon, so if there's something you want me to talk about, let's talk. Bye.